Well, I did it. I call that service where one can rent Charlie Sheen-type parties to inhabit one's home, complete with a Rent-A-Sheen ringleader. Yeah, it should exist. I was hanging around the Rent-A-Sheen caravan for a while, and fleshy mushrooms started sprouting from my scalp. They were of various sizes, polyp-like in nature, some as big as horns, like those on Michelangelo's bust of Moses. They mostly resembled mushrooms, 2 to 3 inches high, but one in particular was gaining in thickness and on its way to resembling a circumcised penis. They had the sensory input of regular flesh. Their presence was going to make brushing my hair difficult. I estimated that they would be costly to remove. Even worse, were they like warts? Would they spread all over my head into other parts of my body? Would people avoid me out of fear of catching my condition? At one point, I tried to hide them under a baseball cap that was sitting nearby. Some of you may speculate that this was an odd virus caught from the tawdry Rent-A-Sheen crew. I personally think this is a condition I have had all along. A manifestation, if you will, of my true and enduring nature.
Next up, got the amniotic doldrums again? Get on trend with uterine makeovers on famous fetuses!
Let's see. Maybe I'll do this one. It's another dream.
Morrison Groupie Death Watch.
Yes, it's about Jim.
My dreams in the past few days have involved fame and famous people. The best one was with Jim Morrison, and he was dying. Instead of the bloated, found in a bathtub opiate fiend we have been given in reality, he was the leonine, sex-glossed cherub of the first singles, the hollows of his cheeks as deep as riverbeds, his pupils as dark as the edge of outer space. The Evernight rim pregnant with a permanent unknown our telescopes itch to probe. Jim was thin and sweaty and unconscious. Due to the publicity his presence would draw, he had been removed to a remote hospice run by a bunch of shady doctors who reminded me of high school principals. In milky daylight, they crowded around his bed. I was with a gaggle of Jim's favorite groupies. High-level groupies who were treated like next of kin. We leaned close to Jim's statuesque form, and as we did, I noted the sculptural quality of 5 transparent tubes that hooked up to his neck, right below the chin. Instead of medical devices, these tubes looked more like antennae, or the wisps of an old Asian monk's beard as rendered by a thick and impressionistic brush. They were like straws, extracting the milk that Jim was made of, the pearl dew of the ancient bacchanal. Jim's breathing was shallow but steady. Watching his body inflate and deflate with each intake was a hypnotic experience. I think any of us could have sat there and done so for hours. The doctors told us they were going to do some routine maintenance on Jim and that we should leave the room while they did. When we came back, the straws were removed from his chin, gently dangling inches from his flesh, and his breathing had stopped. We knew he was dead, and the doctors had done it. They had made the decision to remove all that was Morrison from the world. They had taken away decades, perhaps even half a century more of what he could create and feel. Now, he was a statue. A dead statue. Ever so briefly, containing a cosmos of dying cells that could have continued the Jim. Oh, we're in time. One more. Shorter, medium, or... I'll do 2 short ones instead of one medium. So this is a real story called Other Candy. I pride myself in my feel of a face. Before she was a tweaker, the woman with the black hair and the tattered business blazer was Irish. Along with her boyfriend, a beet red weasel in Desert Army boots covered in mud, she hauled bags of bottles into the midnight supermarket, scavenged presumably from the same place the couple had scavenged the upended oven, coils of wire, boxes, and dented who knows what sort of trash piled in a nest, piled like a spaceship made of junk on top of the pickup truck. The man waited for the clerk, one of several teenage stoned dudes listening to satellite emo, while the woman kneeled before a candy display, whispering words that wove and nod at the air, like her nails now gnawed at the blisters on her face. She was once cheerleader pretty, probably 5-10 years ago. The business checks of her jacket told me she was still trying to be. She got up from kneeling and said out loud,
"Where's the rest of the candy?"
I pointed to half an aisle of candy, more candy than anyone could name or dream of.
"Not that!"
She muttered to the floor. "I want other candy." I will close with a very brief Smurf piece now. This is a symmetry here. The Smurf coda, if you will. And this is another true story. When I was 10 years old, I watched a classmate dismember a small plastic Smurf figurine over the course of a day. I didn't actually see him with scissors or a knife. He did it privately, this surgery. I dug my nails into my palms over and over again to stop from hysterically laughing. Each time Mark, that was his name, silently, without fanfare, displayed a new Smurf body part at the top left corner of his desk, as if displaying a trophy. Neat, like a gin drink or eugenics. It was a neat display. The best one was the Smurf's tail. A small blue circle that could easily be mistaken for a Tic Tac. It sat there, lonesome as a cloud. Later on, Mark became a drug and alcohol counselor. There is a moral in all of this somewhere. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Jennifer Robbins.
One more time, Jennifer Robbins.